Hello, my name is Adrian Aguilar, and today I'm going to present about the Cold War. The Cold War was a geopolitical tension between the Soviet Union and the United States and their allies. It was characterized by threats, propaganda, and other measures. The space race that was in 1957 was a series of competitive technology demonstrations between the United States and the Soviet Union, aiming to show superiority in spaceflight. The Lockheed U-2 was in 1960. The Lockheed U-2, nicknamed Dragon Lady, is an American single-jet engine, high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft operated by the United States Air Force. It was used to spy on Soviet Union, China, Vietnam, and Cuba. Reagan visits the world in 1961. Ronald Reagan stopped in the West Berlin on the 750th anniversary of the city, where he said his famous speech, Tear down this wall. The Peaceful Revolution, a series of protests by East Germans, led to the negotiations between the GDR and FRG that culminated in a unification treaty. Origins of the term Cold War. At the end of the World War II, George Orwell used Cold War as a general term in his essay You and the Atomic Bomb. George Orwell was a very famous writer. He is the author of many famous books such as The Rebellion, in which he opposed and he is against to the Stalin dictatorship. Capitalism is an economic system based on the private ownership of the means of production and their operation profit. Socialism is a political, social, and economic philosophy encompassing a range of economic and social systems characterized by social ownership. That means workers own the production and they are self-enterprises. The main philosophers for socialism were Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, and the main philosopher of capitalism was Adam Smith, also known as the father of economics. I did the interview with my brother and I asked him what countries were the world leaders during this period. He answered United States, USSR, Japan, Germany East, and Germany West. Second question. Why did countries who were allies during the wars become enemies afterwards? And he answered, because of mistrust. And the United States do not want another dictator to take over Europe. Third question. Where did the Cold War take place? And he answered in the United States, USSR, and Europe. Fourth question. What opinion did the general public have of the Cold War? And he answered, some people was excited so that they can beat the USSR, and some others were against it. What type of weapons did the two world powers have at their disposal? And he answered that they had nuclear weapons. My opinion about these two, capitalism and socialism, is that capitalism is a better economic philosophy because economic system because people will put some effort to get what they want. Not in social or communism that even if someone does anything, they can have their money. In capitalism, it is equity and everything is fair. So that one ones who doesn't do nothing, well, they don't have money. And I also think that socialism would not work because the human being is really selfish. It's nature of the human being. So if someone doesn't is better than someone, there would be desperation and many other bad symptoms. In my opinion about the Cold War was, I think that it was absolutely necessary because the Cold War was an economic and political embargo against the socialist countries. The United States forced the socialist countries to spend a lot of money on armament that they became so they lose a lot of money, and all the capitalist countries unified against socialism and they won, and that's a really good thing in my opinion.